I'm gonna blame it on Facebook. I got lost in Facebook. Oh, somebody else is with me today that I'll take outside in just a minute.
Hi everyone. Okay.
We found out that it's raining. It's starting to sprinkle, and it definitely looks like rain from the outside. Yeah, I moved you over to the window, but I forgot to turn it around. Huh? Oh, Doc Lance is here? The owner of the compound's actually here.
I guess that's his car, no?
Yes, it is. But we're going to show some of the things we're doing around the townhouse, and then we'll move upstairs, or may just do a talking head live stream in after a few minutes. It's actually, as far as temperature, it's actually a beautiful morning. But it's been sprinkling on and off. The weather's calling for like an 80% chance of rain. And I don't know how well you can see it on the windshield, but it has been sprinkling off and on all morning. So I didn't want to take a chance on being somewhere caught in the rain. But I also kind of didn't want to do a another office live stream, so we figured this might be a neat compromise. Now, this is the front of our townhome. And you can see that we're starting to get some of the grass cleared out. We got a couple of roses. We got one right there, and then you can't see it in the grass, but like right there is another rose, the miniature roses, the little tea roses. And as you can see, everybody's got a lot of plant, but it's all just greenery. There's no color anywhere in these. That this guy's got a plant that's kind of reddish, but other than that, this person, they used to, they just moved out, but they had a ton of plants and they were all greenery. Same over here, that it's all green. It's cool, and coming from the desert, I really enjoy the greenery, but I wanted a little bit of splash of color here and there too. So we got some, and I'm slowly taking it out. We got some seeds that we're going to try and plant, and surprisingly, finding flowering plants is actually presenting a little bit of a challenge here. There we go. Yeah, my glasses just fell off. We got Silva Peach Fuzz, Aster Daylight Violets, and then sunflowers. And so we're going to give them a shot. The guys that were on the live stream, there we go. I found that place does have soil, and what the green bag is actually predominantly rice hulls. Doc had his workers come over and there we go, and reattach an actual hose bib, so I was able to put a hose on it. Went down to the Metro store and bought a hose. It is the first time I ever bought a hose that I had to assemble. that it came with the nozzle and all that. But if you'll notice, it says garden hose with fittings. You actually had to put the fittings on them. Typically, yeah, I go down to Lowe's or Home Depot, and I kind of expect the brass fittings to be on. I don't know if you guys can see terribly well, but the entire sky just looks really gray and dull this morning, which is kind of cool in a lot of ways because it's not hot. And we're actually heading down to, yeah, that's Doc. My mutak Doc. That we're actually heading down to Ayala, so we're going to be going by a True Value. I may try to convince her to head to a SM, and SM has both a True Value and an Ace. And somebody's actually watching the live stream as we're doing it, so I have a monitor tape with this. But yeah, I'm not terribly sure what's going to happen today. There's a yeah, we're going to sit down and do a little bit of talking head video. Hope you guys don't mind. Oop.
You fix your hair?
That there's a store, Daiso, that Japan Daiso, that it's a
Japanese.
yeah, it's kind of a Japanese, not really knick-knack, but
It has a lot of organizer.
yeah, they've got a lot of organizers and stuff like that, intentionally made for really small confined areas. And so we're gonna head down there, and we picked up a few things from there. And one of them was this little wire basket on suction cups that it's holding really well. They're not terribly expensive, but I didn't want to get a whole bunch only to find out they didn't hold well.
8 pesos.
Yeah, everything in there is 88 pesos. It's kind of like the dollar store. Unless it's specifically marked, it's 88 pesos. So about $2. But they're holding outstandingly well. And we want to get a couple, 3 more for the bathroom. I'm trying to figure out what she's looking at. Anyways. That
You're my model.
yeah, that my hair is definitely got a mind of its own, and but I did shave. I did shave today.
You did pretty cute pictures I posted yesterday. Did you like that?
That
You're my model. That's it.
I'm kind of proud of myself that I weighed myself the other day that I'm down to 227.
That's the one I didn't.
Oh,
Sorry.
let's see if I can do this.
Ding.
There we go. See, that picture looks way better. I can't get focused. There we go. See, that picture looks way better.
My model. And Romeo asked, "Hey, do you have a new scooter?" Remember?
That I'm gonna sneak outside for a few minutes. Let you guys check this place out. Yeah, sorry these live streams are sometimes boring like this, but I try my best to be as consistent as possible with doing it in the time frames and everything else. I try to be as consistent as I can by doing the walking live streams, the mobile live streams Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Days like today, it's just, kind of catch as catch can. And normally it's not too bad, but like I say, I'm not comfortable and I don't want to get stuck out in pouring rain, especially with the phone and gimbal out here. Yeah, I'm just slightly distracted for a second. I turned on my mobile data. I'm going to try and walk a little bit outside to see what goes on. There's only so much I can show in the apartment, the townhome. My bundak. You'll have to let me know if this swapped over okay. I'm still showing this broadcasting. Steven, you'll know this site really well. All the water meters. I think our water meter and shutoff is somewhere on here, but I don't know which one. And the other day, I really needed to know which one. Okay. I'm wondering if the small-time lotto moved, because the one down at the other side isn't there anymore.
Hello friend, Benpuntak.
Mayang buntak po. Oh, we have a lawyer that lives next to us. One of these days I'm going to bring up and get a little bit better drone shots from around here in the area. Mayang buntag. Yeah, I'm not going to go too terribly far in this area. Mayang buntag. But back here, I forgot I don't have a mask on. I'm getting back inside. Yeah, I didn't plan on coming out like this, and so I didn't grab my mask. But yeah, you can see the sky is definitely dark in areas. So I didn't want to take a chance. But up that way was a little current area back in the, I don't know if that's actually a squatter area or not. I've been told both, so. Well, I saw the guy writing the numbers as well, but it reminded me I didn't have a mask, and our barangays actually got the highest rate of mask violations, tickets, and arrests for mask violations in Cebu City. So I didn't want to add yet another one. Okay, I should be reconnected now. that this uh StreamYards, there we go, Streamlabs actually does really well for swapping back and forth in the phone that I've got, Samsung Galaxy A52 5G. It's one of the flagship phones here in the Philippines. It's one of the flagship phones here in the Philippines, and it's actually doing pretty good. That I started out with that J4, and that's the one that I had a lot of lag issues and such like that on, that just didn't quite work as well as I'd like it to. And for my birthday, Cindy decided to go get this one, and she got this for me, and it works really well. That I've had a couple people ask about the different things that I use. I haven't heard anything about a double mask, but face shields are still mandatory. But and part of the reason for not Friday, no live stream Friday, is I had another YouTuber that I know here in Cebu make comment about you might want to think twice about doing so many live streams out in public like that. That they're not terribly well enforcing a lot of the MECQ regulations. Morning, Mr. David. How you doing today? And going out and showing that and broadcasting and talking about, you know, hey, they're not doing anything, is liable to draw some unwanted attention if the wrong people see it. And so I couldn't really disagree with what they're saying. I didn't feel terribly well, not sick or anything, just dead tired Friday anyhow. So I said to heck with it and just stayed in and didn't do anything. But yeah, the face shields are definite. The double mask I hadn't heard of yet. And I will emphasize yet. With all the stuff going on around here, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody comes out with that rule or regulation in the near future to do so. So, is it here? No, not yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's part of what they do. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but I've got this mask that's modified bandana. Here, it'll be easier just to show you. Yeah, we keep all of our masks and all of that stuff hung up on our handrail, whatever you want to call it here. But these command strips are stinking awesome. I love those things. But yeah, I found these in the U.S. Wasn't terribly sure how well I was going to like them. Let me lay this thing out here. There we go. That I've got that. It's got the ear loops, but it's also got this that you can tie around the back of your neck if you want it. And generally, I like them, and I've never had a problem with them. I've been into all over with them. The one time I did have problems with it is getting into Velez Hospital. That they did make both Cindy and I, that she's got the more standard masks. except hers are typically the pretty one, and typical female, she has about 9 to go with the different outfits. Uh, yeah, the neck gaiters, I've seen a few people use them here, and those ones are frequently being told that they don't cut it. I've seen guys take the t-shirts and pull that crap, and those guys are frequently turned away. But at Velez Hospital, and there's been a couple other places, the Wilcon Depot that I go to won't accept my my bandana mask that they make you do a medical mask. And so I keep a spare medical mask in my bag, just in the original sack that it came in. So that way I've got a medical grade N95 mask that they accept. At the Velez Hospital, that they made us buy, they made both of us buy or get, we wound up just going to the pharmacy and buying them, the medical masks before we could go in on that one. So and that's just it. That we're just doing, whatever reasonably it takes to keep the peace and keep up with everybody. And I don't see Cebu shutting down like you would expect with the MECQ. It's actually fixing to end here this week. It's the 9th, and it's supposed to be over on the 15th. So 6 days, and it's supposed to be over. This is my personal opinion, but I really think it was a base-saving move on both sides. And Stephen, you are 100% right on that one. And you can ask 3 people and get 3 different interpretations, and one of them will probably, 2 of them are probably going to want to ticket you over it, especially if you're the Rich Cano. And that it's something that bothers me a little bit, but at the same time, if it bothers me that bad, I can leave. It's the same thing I tell people in the U.S. If you don't like it, go away. That if you don't like it, go someplace else. And that's what I'm trying to live by here. If I don't like it and can't deal with it, go someplace else. And I am choosing to stay here and deal with it. That it's much more, there are way many more positives here, even during this situation, than there are negatives. And that's the main thing I'm trying to keep focused on and trying to keep my attention. I'm looking at the computer screen behind me. There we go. And that's the main thing I'm trying to keep my attitude focused on, is that there are way more positives here still, even during all of this silliness, than there are negatives. Governor Gwen just had to do an executive order that it seems it was a rush on oxygen after this Delta variant was announced and emphasized and all that other silliness. And so the hospitals were running short, the suppliers were running short. And that's just it. That even with stuff like that, and Gwen wound up having to do an executive order, and it was kind of funny because she basically wrote it in a very chastising way that what was somewhat critical of the people that were causing the situation to have to, creating the circumstance that she honestly felt it was necessary to write an executive order for. But she limited the sale of oxygen to individuals. You now need a prescription from a doctor to even buy oxygen. Suppliers can only wholesale it to hospitals and certain retail outlets. Individuals can only buy the smaller canisters. So it just, and that was one of the things that she made comment of is, the panic driven situation. And a lot of it is just exactly that. But yeah, Steve, you're right that I would rather be walking around here in a mask and, like you say, a painter, one of the bunny suits than in most places in the U.S. at this point. So, and that's the biggest reason why we're choosing to stay here is that we recognize that overall it's still, in our opinion, a better quality of life here than in the U.S. for the most part. We are going to go back. We've already said that we do plan on going back, but it's 100% for financial reasons. That all of the cost of living is way less expensive here. Cindy's doing okay about finding online work, but it's not much. And she really didn't plan on finding a whole lot like that here. Where she goes back to the U.S., she's already got several standing offers for very well-paying jobs. And she's saying at this point, actually a couple of them could wind up back here in Southeast Asia. Maybe not the Philippines, but at least back in Southeast Asia. I know she's talked about one that is in Singapore. She mentioned Japan the other day. And a lot of these bigger companies do that. They have offices here in Southeast Asia somewhere. A few of them do have offices here in the Philippines. And with Cindy being Asian to begin with, that it would be, very beneficial for them to send someone like that back here. So we may wind up back here with her on working full time. My biggest thing would be for me getting long-term visas like that to be with her. But again, if that happens, the company would be dealing with that, not us. If it comes back here to the Philippines, neither one of us have a problem with that one. So. And that's just it. That it's just an interesting situation all the way around. I would like to believe it's getting better, but at this point, in a lot of ways, I question that. And I think a lot of the panic is being driven by the U.S. news media outlets in particular. But again, that is just strictly solely my opinion and my opinion alone. I don't know. It's getting silly and it's getting crazy. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad. Sabunga has a spike in cases. But again, if you go back and look at the actual statistics, the spike in cases comes at the same time that they've almost literally doubled the testing that they're doing. So if 3% of the population has a problem, if you test twice as many people, you're probably going to find twice as many cases, but the percentage of people isn't going to change. You're just finding more cases because you're testing more people. And the fatality rate of this is still below 1%. That hasn't changed. And so that's lending more credence to the fact that the people aren't sicker, You're just finding more of them because you're testing more. That avian flu back in the day, that's finally what they did to make it go away, is just stopped testing. And that's what they need to do here. Is what Singapore has done, and a few countries are talking about it. And that's what needs to be done. It's here to stay. It's a bad flu, but it is a flu. Move on with life, people. Take common sense hand, precautions. I'm not a big hand washer before this. If I got dirt or something on, I'm gonna wash my hands. But to just walk into a house and wash my hands, not something I typically do. Since this, yes, I have become almost OCD about my hand washing. In my little bag I showed you a minute ago where my mask is, I carry one of the small gel bottles of hand sanitizers, so that when I'm in a mall or something like that and use a handrail or anything where I've slid my hand along something for any length of time, I'll break out the sanitizer and sanitize my hands. It's common sense procedures that I probably should have taken in the past but never did, because I just generally don't get sick. So yeah, just take those common sense procedures, treat it like a bad flu, avoid it, as much as possible, and then move on with life. And until that mentality happens, we're going to continue having problems and issues and shutdowns and all this other good rot. But I noticed I've actually been on here about 30 minutes today. I'm actually going to cut this a little bit short because not a whole lot's going on, and me just sitting here talking into the phone is not wasting you people's time, and I appreciate all the support you do give the channel. But yeah, there's just not a whole lot interesting in this one, which is a big part of the reason why I like to try and do the walking live streams and give you a nice area to check out with me. Papa is going to be back. They're just not terribly sure when. Their youngest son, Jujil, the merchant marine, because of flight restrictions and all this other silliness, the port that it was at, he wasn't able to get into because flight restrictions, yada yada yada. And yeah, you ain't lying on that one, David. So now he's got to wait till it hits the next port before they can get him a flight there. And so he'll be out of here in the next couple weeks. And after that, Mama Papa can close out the condo and come back to Cebu and figure out what they need to do to come back to Cebu. There's a chance they may need to get vaccinated to come back. I don't know. Stuff like that's changing by the hour, let alone by the week. And so it's kind of crazy. Yeah, David, that a lot of things that look clean, when you actually take some good cleaner to them, you find out they're not terribly clean. And yeah, that it can get bad. I showed that to Mama Papa. Papa was very, very shocked. So was Mama. And yeah. I don't know. I think CDO is at ECQ, that extreme community quarantine or something like that, enhanced community quarantine. I think CDO basically shut down altogether. Iloilo, there was like three major places that did that they effectively shut down altogether. They'd be coming here to Cebu City, not to CDO. Her grandmother is looking to come back to Cebu, and so I'm not terribly sure what's going on with that one. She'd be coming from Malaybalay up in the Bukidnon down to Mindanao. But she'd have to come through CDO to get to Cebu, so I don't know. About a month ago, Jill managed to come back from CDO without too much problem. But he came by ferry, and he came by ferry being carried by people he knew that he had previously worked with. When he was doing his internship practicals, that he worked for a shipping line here in her island, and got to know a bunch of people. Yeah, they've got ECQ, MECQ, GCQ. I think they've got a CQ. I don't know. They've got like 5 of them. They've got like 4, 5, 6 of them that they talk about. And yeah, that it gets silly in some of these. That there's a lot of people. Now, are they out of work because of COVID, or are they just uh, not able to find work? Period. And that's a legit thing. Is that there were a lot of people even before all this that were out of work and needed to work, and so a lot of these people. It's just magnifying the problem that a lot of people that are currently out of work are currently out of work because of COVID, but a lot of them were out of work before. So it's just making a horribly, it's making a bad situation horribly bad. I just want the free movement. Just accept that it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Treat it like a flu. Wash your hands and move on with life. If you want a mask, put a mask on. That people have been wearing masks for years when they've wanted to instead of being forced to. And if there was a bad thing, Cindy normally carried a mask with her here, especially riding the jeepneys. Not so much because of the sickness, but just simply because of the smog and crud that was in the air. So just use your common sense and live. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get worse. But for today, I appreciate all you guys coming in and having these chats with me. But for today, from Cebu City, mabuhay.